Edgar Davids' career was a great one, but didn't really get too interesting until his spell with Barnet towards the end of his career. A tenacious midfielder, regarded as one of the best in his generation, Davids was 5'7", had dreadlocks, and wore protective goggles due to his glaucoma medical condition. He certainly had an iconic look. Born in Suriname, Davids moved to the Netherlands as an infant and broke through to a great Ajax side, featuring the likes of Edwin van der Sar, Danny Blind, Frank de Boer and Dennis Bergkamp. He won the Eredivisie 3 times, the Champions League once, the Super Cup and many other trophies with Ajax. He then moved on to Milan, Juventus, Barcelona and Inter Milan, where he had a lot of success, making his name as one of the best midfielders in world football. Davids came to England with Tottenham Hotspur at 32 years old and played 44 times across 2 seasons. He then returned to Ajax, where he offered his experience to the new breed of Dutch football in 2 seasons. 7 years old, he signed for Crystal Palace in the Championship on a pay-as-you-play deal and made his debut as a left-back against Portsmouth in the League Cup. A shock move for one of the best players in the world, but now in his twilight years. His spell at Palace ultimately only lasted 7 games and he then moved on. He remained living in North London and managed a Sunday League side, Brixton United. He then joined Barnet in League 2 as a player manager alongside Mark Robson in October 2012. A move that was a real shock at the time. He took over as full player manager in December that year and played 29 times, scoring 1 goal in League 2 at 39, as the club suffered relegation to the then called Conference Premier. Davids stayed on as player manager and chose to wear the number 1 shirt, only really worn by goalkeepers, stating that he wanted to set a trend. The conference has never seen a player of Davids' calibre, and the whole idea of a former best midfielder in the world playing as a player manager for conference side Barnet wearing the number 1 shirt is just bizarre. During his final season, he was cautioned 8 times and sent off 3 times. He would not travel to an away game if it required an overnight stay. So, at 40 years old, he decided to retire, following his final red card and ending a 23-year-long career as a professional footballer. He later had a spell as a manager again, this time in Portugal, with CS Orleans in the 3rd tier of Portuguese football, but his time in charge lasted 6 months, and he has not returned to the dugout since. Davids will always be remembered as one of the game's very best, but his final spell as a player will always go down as his most interesting period.